We are now joined by James Crabb from Almedia. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, a bit tired from last night, but we have nice hangover kits on our booth, so I've been partaking in them.
Usually it's day two that gets everybody.
I know.
But I'm glad to see you've got the show off to a strong start.
Yeah, we'll see.
You folks have got a booth out here. You're one of our diamond sponsors, and we were just talking. You've been coming to the show since like 2012, since we've been doing it, basically.
Yeah.
And we've kind of crossed paths in the past, but folks who haven't encountered Almedia, what is it that you guys are all about?
Yeah, we'll start there. So Almedia is a rewarded UA or rewarded user acquisition platform, I would say. Our B2B product is freecash.com, and through that platform, we are able to run user acquisition campaigns for our advertisers. Our advertisers can access our 35 million plus users on Free Cash. They can run rewarded campaigns, which means they pay a CPI to us, and we deliver users who are highly engaged because they are rewarded throughout playing that game. Even in deeper levels, the deeper the better for us, because then we can get as many users as possible to stay in the game for as long as possible. So it's all about it's not about how incentivized used to be. It's now all about quality and engaged players.
Right. Because the quantity thing, both in terms of users gathered and also the data that you gathered them with, used to be a bit more in abundance. But then everything got locked down data-wise a little bit, and it made it trickier. So it became about using the data that you have, as you say, in a qualitative way, in a way that produces kind of actually engaged people. When you say rewarded and incentivized, what do you actually mean? What does that mean for the end users? Are we talking offers, awards, gifts, tokens? What's the kind of deal?
Generally, it means users can actually, in practice, the users can take a share of the CPI that we get paid by advertisers. So it's about really giving back value to the player. In a way, bringing them into this value chain, right? Which previously involved just the platform and the advertiser. Now the player comes into that as well.
There's a lot more talk about that direct relationship with the consumer, and you've had the European Markets Act that's been going on that is essentially trying to sort of demonopolize the situation, certainly in Europe, away from there being two gigantic app stores, and web stores are popping up and people are engaging directly. Do you feel like this is a trend that is going to continue going forward, and do you think that's something that you're trying to capitalize on?
Totally. I think we don't really talk about it much in the rewarded UA space, but platforms like ours are essentially app stores. So we have a curated list of apps on there. The players who would normally go to the app store to play a game now know that they can come to our platform, download the same game, but get paid for playing it. Right? So they're aware of the value that they are owed, basically.
Was it a tough sell when you're initially pitching this sort of thing to developers and publishers, where it's like, don't publish it on the app stores, but also come over here and invest time with us? Because, effectively, however big you are, compared to something like the App Store, you're in that scrappy underdog status. Yeah. So did it take a little bit of convincing, or was the value clear?
The main reason it's been tough is because traditionally the word incentivized meant low quality and meant, it was used to boost your chart position, right? Back when we were attending PGC 10, 12 years ago, there were companies like Fixu and Tapjoy and Chartboost, who would offer, you could pay $20,000 and be pushed up to the top 10 in the US store charts. So that sort of stigma has stuck with incentivized, which is now what we call rewarded. But in the last year, I think that's changed. So now I think many advertisers realize how rewarded UA works, and actually that there's a big focus on long-term engagement and high-quality users.
I was talking to someone earlier, and they talk about this idea of training the consumer, training the user that maybe you pick up an app from a store, but our web shop, that's where you want to make your purchases. That's where you want to do your main engaging, because that's where you can get the best value. Do you feel that there's some truth to that?
I think so. I think users, part of it is educating users and as to where they can get the most value. And part of it is from our side as well, like is helping users to get through certain parts of the game where they would normally churn or where they would normally give up, you know. Instead, now they have the offer of a reward if they stick through tough levels or parts of the game where it's not so entertaining for them. And so we kind of hold their hand through the journey, really, and also provide and give them money back for their time and for their engagement.
What do you feel is the biggest challenge to keeping users engaged? Because is it the sheer volume of apps that people have available to them? Because they can just, I'm not enjoying this, close this down and choose from any number of another 1,000. Is it visibility in getting the apps that you want them to lock into actually on their radar? Like, what's the biggest challenge of getting people in?
Yeah, I think, like you say, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of apps out there. So the time, the sort of length of a session has got shorter and shorter over the years. Users' attention has got less and less over the years. So that's the real challenge, is to get them really to stick around. And adding a monetary rewards to that is a great way to kind of give them that extra incentive, right? But you're not giving it away, and you're not giving up on any long-term user quality, you know.
Do you find that there is, with something like a monetized reward system rather than a tokenized system where it's, a virtual asset or item, you're dealing with actual money, so that means you have to deal with rules and regulations, laws in different regions, different countries. Does that add additional friction when you're trying to, the same game has to work in the US and the UK and the EU and all these other places where they have specific rules and regulations? Is that a challenge?
I think it will be a challenge going forward as we expand more and more into more global markets. For now, the concentration is on the US market and tier 1 Europe, really, because that's where globally where advertisers want to acquire users right now. It is obviously changing. There's a lot of good, high quality users in Japan and Korea, in China. But for now, like everyone, even the Chinese advertisers, the focus is US, always first US, then UK, Germany, France, and then some other geos as well. So it's less of an issue right now, but yeah, I mean, it becomes more of a question when you expand.
When your users come to you, as in the developers, the publishers, the people who are looking to acquire users, what's the biggest problem that they have? When they say, look, we're getting users in, but they're churning really quickly, or what's the issue that they have? They're like, we're having trouble with this particular thing. How can you help?
I think, first of all, they're looking for, can we scale? That's always the first question. So they want to know if it's worth their time and effort to onboard another UA channel. They want to know that they can get the scale that they need. First and foremost, they have UA budgets to spend. They want to ensure that they are getting the right amount of users in. So we have to obviously keep our platform full of users. And we do a lot of UA ourselves as well. So we buy users on traditional channels like Facebook and Google. The advantage we have is that we're able to use ad creatives that offer money rewards to users, right? So the conversion's much higher. We get higher conversion on our ads than our advertisers would get on their ads on the same platform. So we're able to buy at scale, and then we are able to, it's our own platform, so they're our users, that's our data, and we are able to use that data to make sure that the right user is downloading and playing the right game for them on our platform. So scale is one thing, and then of course, quality, ROAS, is a big, most important KPI, I would say, that we are kind of working towards and optimizing towards. So two things: can they scale? Can they reach their ROAS goals?
Gotcha. And when people are looking to maybe build in these monetization options into their game, or these types of rewards, I remember when the free-to-play first kicked off, people tried to just take premium games and kind of convert them. Yeah. They just were like, "Oh, just make it free-to-play, it'll be fine." But it didn't work because the mechanics are built around premium. They weren't rewarded mechanics. They weren't mechanics that like asked people for something every 50 seconds or every hour of play or something like that. For your kind of system where you're actually rewarding with money, is a thing that needs to get built in from the ground up? Or do you feel like it's something that can be easily bolted on to a pre-existing model?
It works better for some genres. So there are certain genres that I guess create the game with this kind of model in mind, and that essentially really all they need to do is provide as many in-game events as they can, so that we can use those events to reward users. So it's like if we're talking about merge games, for example, there's a lot of in-game events that come with merge games. It's very easy to have level events, to have other kind of playtime events, and a combination of events as well. So the more we have, the better. And that works very well for merge, for match, casual games, social casino games. And then we are able to, and ideally also those events should be much deeper. So actually a combination of short, mid and long-term events is best for us, so that we can offer the user early rewards, but also if they keep playing and they start paying, then the rewards later on are very high.